Sometimes, in the quiet corners of history, love and courage bloom even in the darkest storms. This is not just a tale of kings and battles, but of a heart that refused to break, a promise that lived beyond death. Tonight, listen closely, and let the winds of Elyria whisper their story to your soul. Before the fall of the Roman Empire, long before maps divided lands into borders and empires, there was a beautiful kingdom called Elyria. It was a land where green fields stretched farther than the eye could see. Marble stone glimmered beneath the sun, and rivers sang like spirits of ancient gods. Breezes carried the whispers of stories old as time itself. In this land lived a princess named Sylvia. She was the daughter of Lord Ariston, the respected leader of the Illyrian people. Her father was known as a man of courage and deep wisdom. His leadership was strong and steady, like the tall forests he protected. His people loved him, his enemies feared him, but above all, he was a loving father. He cherished his only daughter more than all the treasure in the world. Every morning, the gardens of the castle would echo with the sound of Sylvia's laughter. Her joy was like sunlight breaking through dark clouds. She did not spend her days hidden behind silk curtains or marble pillars like other noble women. She loved the open sky. She loved the smell of wild roses. She loved to ride her horse through the fields where the wind could hold her like a friend. Her silver-white gown flowed behind her like a small flag of freedom. Her dark, chestnut hair chased the wind as she ran. When she dismounted, she would kneel beside the flowers, touching them with gentle fingers as though they were old friends. Gardeners would whisper that flowers bloomed brighter wherever she walked. She was not just a princess. She was the heart of Elyria. But far from the beautiful kingdom, over black rivers and harsh mountains, there was a land ruled by a dark king, Rhodas. He was feared by all. He did not rule through honor, but through fire and fear. His soldiers raided villages without mercy. His laws were written in blood. His heart desired everything that shined: gold, land, and beauty. When tales of Princess Sylvia's beauty reached him, something evil grew inside him. He sent messengers to Lord Ariston, demanding Sylvia's hand in marriage. But Ariston refused. He knew what Rhodas was, a man who saw women not as queens, but as possessions. Every season the demand returned, and every season Ariston found a way to delay. The king's anger burned hotter with each rejection. His pride was a fragile beast, easily wounded and hungry for revenge. He swore that if love could not win Sylvia, then the sword would steal her instead. But destiny has its own plans. Plans not written by kings but by fate's silent hand. One morning, when spring painted the lands with soft colors, Sylvia rode out alone. She rode her horse, Eleonora, across the field like she always did. But dark clouds gathered quickly. The sky turned black as though night had swallowed it. Rain fell hard, like arrows from the heavens. She tried to turn back, urging her horse toward the castle, but the ground was wet and slippery. At the edge of the forest, the horse stumbled. Sylvia fell into the mud, dazed and breathless. For a moment, she lay still, the cold rain covering her like a blanket of sorrow. Then she heard a voice. "Are you hurt, my lady?" She looked up. A man stood there wearing a soldier's cloak. His armor was scratched and his eyes were tired but kind. His presence felt like shelter in the storm. He was Marcus Aelian, a Roman soldier from a distant province. His own army had been broken in battle. He had fled across the mountain searching for peace. But what he found that day was something much greater. With gentle care, he helped Sylvia to her feet. His voice was calm and respectful. "Storms are cruel," he said softly, "but sometimes they lead us to where we are meant to be." Sylvia's lips curved into a small smile, first from gratitude, then from curiosity. "You speak like a poet, stranger." Marcus lowered his head slightly. "I am only a soldier who has seen enough war to understand the value of peace." As the storm eased and birds began to sing again, they talked a little more. Not much, just enough for their hearts to recognize each other. They parted that day, but neither of them forgot. But Elyria was always watched. Rumors found their way to Lord Ariston, rumors of a foreign soldier who often met his daughter in secret. He called Sylvia to him. His voice was calm but full of worry. "My child, the world outside our borders is not kind. Kings fight for power, men fight for pride. You must guard your heart, for it is the only treasure I cannot protect." Sylvia lowered her eyes. She understood his fear, but she could not tell him that love was not a weakness. It was the greatest strength she had ever felt. Across the mountains, fate was changing again. King Rhodas, who wanted Sylvia for himself, was betrayed inside his own palace. His own generals, tired of his cruelty, turned against him. His reign ended in blood. But evil does not die easily. Rhodas's son, Prince Lucian, escaped. He was young, but hatred already boiled inside him. He swore revenge. He swore he would take back his father's throne. And he swore that the first kingdom to burn would be Elyria. When news of the king's death reached Elyria, the people celebrated. They believed the threat was gone, but Lord Ariston did not celebrate. He felt the storm still coming. His fears proved right. Only months later, black flags appeared in the northern mountains. Lucian had rebuilt an army fueled by revenge. Beneath a blood-red banner, he promised to take what his father could not. Elyria. War was coming. The castle that once echoed with laughter now trembled under the sound of armor and sharpened blades. Sylvia walked through halls filled with soldiers preparing for battle. Every face she saw deepened the fear in her heart. She looked for Marcus, longing for even a single moment with him. But he was gone. Lord Ariston had sent him to lead a small scouting force along the borders. Days turned into weeks. Then, one evening, as the sun painted the sky in shades of red, Marcus returned. He knelt before Lord Ariston. "My lord, Lucian's army marches at dawn. They will be here before the next moon rises." The hall fell silent. Ariston looked at Marcus, then at his daughter. "Then Elyria will stand," he declared, his voice strong like iron. "We have faced darkness before. We will do so again." That night, Sylvia could not sleep. She walked to the balcony, staring at the torches burning in the camps below. She saw Marcus not far away, also looking at the moonlit sky. Softly, she spoke. "If tomorrow brings war, promise me you will survive." Marcus turned slowly. His voice was low and honest. "I cannot promise life, but I can promise purpose. I do not fight for glory. I fight for you." Their hands touched, just once. One brief, soft moment. Yet in that single touch they said all the words their hearts carried. As dawn approached, Elyria prepared. Mist and prayers filled the air. Sylvia rode her horse into the garden, the place where love first found her. She picked a white rose with trembling fingers and held it close to her heart. "If this is the last sunrise I will ever see," she whispered, "let it be beautiful." Then, like a roar breaking the sky, the first battle cry rose. War had begun. The fate of Elyria, and of two hearts bound by love, was now written in fire. Darkness hung over the hills. When dawn came, it brought not peace, but the sound of screams. Elyria awoke to war. Prince Lucian had arrived, leading his army clothed in black, eyes burning with hatred. Their weapons glimmered with the hunger of vengeance. The first arrows filled the sky, raining down like a storm of night. From the castle walls, Lord Ariston stood tall, his sword raised high, his voice echoing over the chaos. He fought not just as a ruler, but as a protector, a father, and a man who refused to let darkness consume his home. Steel met steel. Shields cracked. The earth trembled with every clash. The valley of Elyria turned red with the blood of brave men. Inside the castle, Princess Sylvia worked among the wounded. Her hands trembled as she bound wounds and wiped blood from the faces of her people. Every cry from the battlefield cut through her heart. She prayed silently for Marcus, somewhere out there, fighting among the storm. By noon, the battle grew fiercer. Lucian ordered his soldiers to bring forward a massive iron ram to strike the castle gates. The sound of its thunderous blows echoed through the valley. The walls shook. Lord Ariston knew the truth. The gate would not hold for long. If the doors fell, his daughter would not be safe. Then, through the smoke and screams, he saw a flash of light. Marcus. The soldier rode like a storm himself, leading a small group behind enemy lines. His blade cut through Lucian's men with unrelenting force. He fought not for fame, but for the promise he had made beneath a silver moon. Ariston saw him and made his decision, the hardest of a father's life. He called for one of his guards. "Go," he ordered firmly. "Take the princess through the secret passage beneath the castle. Lead her to the mountains. Do not look back." The guard hesitated. "My lord, what about you?" Ariston gripped his sword, his eyes burning with resolve. "This is my last command. Go now. Tell Marcus that I have given Elyria a new purpose." The guard obeyed, rushing through the corridors until he found Sylvia. She was kneeling beside a wounded soldier, her gown stained with blood. "Princess," the guard said urgently, "we must leave. It is your father's order." "I cannot," she whispered. "Not while there's still—" "Please," the guard interrupted. "If you stay, your father's sacrifice will mean nothing." She froze. The word sacrifice struck deep. She looked toward the great hall, tears burning in her eyes. "Then let me see him once more," she pleaded. She ran through the halls, past falling stones and smoke, until she reached the tower steps. Lord Ariston stood there, gazing toward the gate that trembled under each blow. "Father," she cried, her voice breaking, "where are you going?" He turned slowly, and for a moment, the world fell silent between them. His armor was dented, his face streaked with ash, but his eyes were calm and proud. "My princess," he said softly, "I am giving you life. I am saving Elyria's soul." "But you'll die," she sobbed. He smiled faintly. "Every father dies one day, child. But not every man leaves a kingdom worth living for. You will. You must." She shook her head, reaching for him. "Please, come with me." "I cannot," he said gently. "You must go. Show our people a new dawn. Promise me, Sylvia. Promise me you will return. Not as a girl who lost her home, but as the woman who wins it back." Tears blurred her sight. She took the white rose she had picked that morning and placed it upon his chest. "I promise," she whispered. "This war is not over." He closed his hand over hers, then turned toward the gate, sword gleaming in the light of the fires. Sylvia's guard pulled her away as the door slammed behind them. Beneath the castle, the hidden tunnel was cold and silent. The only sound was the faint roar of battle fading behind them. As they emerged in the forest, Sylvia looked back one last time and saw smoke rising over Elyria. A loud crash echoed in the distance. The gates had fallen. Lord Ariston stood his ground until the very end. Lucian's soldiers surrounded him, but he fought like a lion defending its last cub. Even when he was struck down, he died with his sword in hand, facing the enemy, unbroken. Sylvia heard the faint cry of Marcus somewhere in the distance, a cry that tore through her soul. Then, only silence. That night, Elyria fell. Lucian stood within the ruined halls, victorious. Flames climbed the marble pillars. The throne of Elyria, once a symbol of peace, was now covered in ashes. Lucian smiled, but it was a hollow smile. He did not know that the heart of Elyria had escaped. Its spirit lived on, carried by a single woman in the forest. Sylvia no longer felt like a princess. She felt like a ghost walking through shadows. The only thing she carried was her white gown, now torn and stained, and the last words of her father burning in her heart. After days of wandering through the wilderness, the guard led her to the ruins of an old Roman outpost. Broken stones covered in moss, echoing memories of lost empires. Marcus had once spoken of this place, long ago, as a safe haven for travelers. Sylvia stood among the ruins, the wind tugging at her hair. The night was cold, but inside her, something fierce began to awaken. She was done weeping. Her father's voice echoed in her memory. Show them a new dawn. Her eyes, once soft with innocence, now carried the weight of purpose. They took my home, she whispered. They took my father. They think they have won. She looked up at the stars, her voice steady. But from this day forward I am not a princess. I am the war of Elyria. And so, beneath the canopy of stars, a new fire was born. Not of revenge, but of destiny. Months passed. In the mountain valleys, whispers spread of a woman in white who gathered the broken and the brave. Soldiers who had once fled returned to her side. Refugees followed her voice. She gave them hope when hope was forgotten. Marcus, alive but wounded, found her again. He had survived the fall of Elyria, though barely. When he saw her standing strong among the campfires, he fell to one knee. "You kept your promise," he said quietly. "And you kept your life," she replied with a trembling smile. Together they rebuilt what had been lost. Not the castle, but the courage of a nation. Under a new banner stitched from the torn flag of Elyria, they united the scattered fighters. The emblem was simple. A white rose crossed by a silver sword, the symbol of love and strength. When the time came, Sylvia stood before her people, no longer wearing jewels or crowns, only armor and her father's sword. Her voice carried through the valley. "We fight not for revenge," she said, "but for those who believed peace was worth dying for. We fight for our children, for the song of our rivers, for the freedom to love without fear. Today, Elyria rises again." At dawn, Marcus led the charge. His voice rang out. "For Ariston, for Elyria." The armies clashed once more beneath the crimson sky, the air filled with smoke and steel. Sylvia fought beside her people, her sword cutting through the shadow of fear. The enemy's strength was great, but their hearts were hollow. They fought for a dead man's pride, while she and her soldiers fought for life itself. As the sun began to sink, Marcus and Prince Lucian met face to face in the ruins of the old castle gate. Lucian's armor shone red, his blade still slick with blood. His rage had grown into madness. "You cannot defeat me," Lucian spat. "You are nothing but ghosts of a fallen kingdom." Marcus raised his sword. "Ghosts do not bleed," he said quietly, "but they also do not stop." Their blades clashed, sparks flying with each strike. The duel raged like a storm. Lucian fought with anger. Marcus fought with love, the kind that gives a man impossible strength. Finally, in a swift final strike, Marcus drove his sword through Lucian's chest. The prince staggered back, eyes wide as the fires of hate left his body. He fell to the ground, his crown rolling away into the dust. For a long moment, the battlefield fell silent. The soldiers of Lucian dropped their weapons. The war was over. Elyria was free. Sylvia walked slowly through the smoke and ashes until she found Marcus. His armor was cracked, his face tired, but his eyes were still bright with life. The sunset painted the sky with red and gold as they stood together. She took his hand gently, tears of relief glistening in her eyes. "We are home," she whispered. "My king, you have done what no sword ever could." Marcus smiled faintly. "Our kingdom will not be built on stone or power," he said. "It will stand on love, the love we fought for." And in that quiet evening, as the wind carried the scent of roses across the ruins, Elyria was reborn. Not from wealth or conquest, but from sacrifice, loyalty, and the unbreakable bond between two souls who refused to give up. Years later, when songs were sung about that time, they did not tell of kings or crowns. They told of a princess who became a warrior, a soldier who became a savior, and a love that healed a kingdom. Because true victory, history whispers, does not belong to those with the sharpest blades, but to those with the purest hearts. And those who stand for love never truly fall. And so the echoes of Elyria fade into the stars, but love, their greatest victory, lives forever. If this story touched your heart, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Join me again, where another timeless tale quietly waits to be heard. Goodbye.